Coach, how you doing, Coach? Coach, I'll die for you, Coach. I just want you to believe in me. I just want you to believe in me. Let's go to the Lions.
And they basically told me if I'm there, it's a possibility they're going to take me. So I had my phone right next to me, ringer on all the way up. Kept checking it, I was nervous, but when I got that call, it was just, I don't even know how to describe it, the feeling.
The Lions take one of my favorite players in this draft class, Isaac Tisla out of Arkansas. I'm giving this an A+. Almost 6'4", 214 pounds, ran a 4.43 in the combine.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live, getting the week going. We're about halfway through the week. It is hump day, and we've got a little bit of news that is starting to emerge about the Detroit Lions in their war room, what went down during the draft, a couple things that the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, tried to achieve during the draft, came ever so close, didn't work out. We'll analyze all that. Some of this is going to come from Jacksonville Jaguars inside reporters that were allowed access to the war room. As most of you know, maybe not all of you know, usually teams do allow a few selective reporters inside the war room. They can talk about things, and over time, information does get out. We're going to analyze all that. We're going to have a special guest today. We've got a packed show for you guys, so let's get this thing rolling. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that march for 13,400 subs, and we are, 40 subs away from that. And so if you can help out with that, that would be most awesome and welcomed. Also, if you have a half second of time, it doesn't cost a dime. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, hit all the buttons. Also, if you can ever be so kind to check this out, go over to Amazon.com or wherever you find great reading literature. I want you to consider, if you like reading, you like getting into maybe fictional novels, etc., check out Kajora Book. It is the first in a 9-part series. If you like historical fictional novels and you like things like, say, Native American cultures, Japanese culture, Chinese cultures, etc., check out this. It's centered around historic events. The characters are allegedly fictional, so you might want to check it out. The second book releases later today. Like I said, if you can, reach on down, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We try to get every episode of the show between 2 or 3, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get this show into the first segment. And as you probably know, that is 5 headlines now. We have some interesting headlines to now this morning, so let's get into it. Lions waive wide receiver Antoine Green is NBC Sports story by Josh Apier. Probably not overall a huge surprise to most Lions fans. The Lions roster is getting pretty dang full and packed. Green, while he had some promise when he was drafted, let's not forget he was a late round pick, brought on in 2023, 7th round pick. He played in 9 games during his rookie season and caught one of the 2 passes thrown his way for a gain of 2 yards. He was waived with an injury settlement last year and then brought on back, reverted to injured reserve as he went unclaimed. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, Tom Kennedy are the returning wideouts for the Lions. They also, as we all are aware now, in the draft that concluded this weekend, drafted Isaac Tisla in the 3rd round and Dominic Lovett in the 7th round. So the wide receiver room apparently is pretty full. Green on the wrong side of it. He did have some wheels, a little bit of size. Obviously just wasn't able to crack a more permanent role with the Detroit Lions. Could they bring him back in time? Sure. Maybe practice squad player or something like that. Something to do in training camp. But if you look over the 90-person roster the Lions currently have out there, it's just a star-studded event. It used to be this franchise just never had talent across the board, never really had any kind of, depth at a lot of places. But now when you look at the Detroit Lions, you see depth pretty much everywhere. I get some of that can be debated from different fans, maybe at this position or that position. But across the board as a totality, this team is going to be pretty deep. just to make the 53-man roster, I think is going to be a stunning statement to any of these fine athletes. And hey, if you're a Lions fan, you are probably jumping up and down to have this situation in front of you. All right, post-draft, which NFL teams have the best current quarterback situation? Question mark. USA Today, story by Sam Robinson. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section right now. If you had to guess what USA Today said about the Lions situation, where would you put us as far as quarterback situations? Are we number 1 in the league, number 32 in the league, somewhere in between? Throw your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of this, because I thought this was an interesting take by USA Today when evaluating. So I'm not going to go through every single team here, but let's just start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers are deemed to have been or are the worst quarterback situation throughout the entire NFL. They came in at 32. And that's a little surprising because they do have some guys there that can play a little bit, but obviously a lot of this could change if some of the free agent quarterbacks out there do sign with them. Now, the Cleveland Browns came in at 31, and let's also be fair. They've got a lot of young promise. They also have some older players there. They went for a couple different guys. We all get it during the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders eventually was selected to him. Could he win the spot? I think it's possible. I think in time he could win that starting spot, and that would be something for the Browns, who we all probably get are kind of in a, I don't know, just a bad situation with the trade for Deshaun Watson years ago. They did get Kenny Pickett. They've still got 40-year-old Joe Flacco across the board. They've got a lot of different options. Somebody's got to win that spot, and it's up for grab. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them. Minnesota Vikings, just because they're an NFC North rival, I'll throw them in there. They were ranked at 28th. That's a pretty good drop for them. I get a lot of people are anticipating J.J. McCarthy will assume the starting role there. We'll see if that holds water or not. He was a top 10 pick a year ago, roughly, and then obviously lost his rookie year due to injury. Going through the list here, looking for a couple others. The Atlanta Falcons and their situation, they're deemed number 24. I thought this was a surprise here. The New York Giants came in at 23. I was like, man, that's a bad quarterback room. But, hey, they were 23. Getting back to the NFC North, Chicago Bears came in at number 22. Caleb Williams, hey, a lot of people think that rookie season was pretty good. Others think it was pretty bad. I know there are some of you in the Duke crew that think he does not have a promising future. Ben Johnson's going to be on the hook with this kid. This kid will either make Ben Johnson sing or his career probably will fold in just a year or two. All right, looking on down the list a little bit more. Miami Dolphins came in at number 16. Arizona Cardinals, 15. And the only reason why I mention that is the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, is he a star? Is he a bust? You have people on both sides of that divide. They came in at number 14. You've seen it really, I won't say it's rookie year, but his first year starting in Green Bay, the first half of the season, he looked like a bust. The back half of the season, he looked pretty good. Last year, he was really, man, one moment he looked good, the other moment he looked bad. He's going to have to be more consistent going forward, or they're probably going to have to look at moving on from him. All right, but in regards to the Detroit Lions, they ranked number 9 on the USA Today poll or ranking, whatever you want to say. And I get it. Jared Goff has proven his 2022 reemergence in the NFL was no fluke, guiding the Lions to back-to-back NFC North titles and a 15-2 record a year ago. All that was good. Questions about the former number 1 Rams pick. Let's see, moving on from Ben Johnson. Will he be able to do it again? Kind of keep his career going forward? That'll probably be the big thing this season. Can John Morton keep the Goff machine, the Goff fence going? I guess we all got questions there. We'll wait and see. Hendon Hooker, really hasn't had much secure playing time in the NFL as far as regular season games. There's a lot of questions with him. So he may not be a surefire backup, but at least he's shown enough promise, enough stuff from the coaching staff where they didn't address it in the offseason. And then we'll just go through the top 3 here before we move on to the next one. Buffalo Bills came in at 1, Kansas City Chiefs 2, and Cincinnati Bengals came in at number 3. All right, probably a little bit too much time on that headline for you guys, but hey, moving on through it. Brad Holmes, fans, quote, mad since we added Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions on SI.com, a story by Christian Bohr. If you guys didn't see it, Brad Holmes gave I think it was 97.1 morning show interview. I kind of listened to it a little bit while driving around doing work yesterday, and there were definitely some tidbits I was surprised he threw out there. Brad Holmes, I get it. He hears what the fans want. And going in the draft, we all wanted edge rusher this, edge rusher that. Why didn't we draft this guy, that guy? Probably a lot of fans upset that, hey, you look at what the Baltimore Ravens drafted and why are they drafting that guy when we pass? Why did the Philadelphia Eagles get this guy and we pass on that guy again? Yada, yada, yada. We get it. Clearly, Brad Holmes is listening to reporters, listening to fans, etc., and he did talk about it. He did point out, and this is probably a somewhat fair statement, look across the NFL, how many teams have one dominant defensive edge? Said the Aiden Hutchinson, in his opinion, is a top 5 NFL pass rushing defensive edge. And I'd say that's probably accurate. He said, now, how many teams have a second guy opposite him? Not very many that are that level. So, where his thinking is going with this, I'll leave that to you guys debate. And Christian Boer goes through, Brad Holmes clearly understands the fans wanted something else. He did point out the team has a lot of belief in the guys they have in-house and thinks that there's some real promise there. I'm not here nor there on it. You do, crew. You guys have opinions on it. By all means, throw them out there. The only thing I could say is this will be a key moment in the Brad Holmes tenure. The Lions did have this year and the year before an opportunity to really add arguably a home run piece to that defensive line opposite Aleem McNeil, opposite Aiden Hutchinson, whoever else you want to name. There were some players of interest there, and they didn't go in it after those guys. We will talk about this a little bit more during the main topic of the day. All right, key Lions position battles emerged. Detroit Lions on SI. Again, Christian Boer with this one, and I don't think he's wrong. If you want to start breaking it down, if you want to start looking over the Lions depth chart, I think you're going to have a hard time saying this guy obviously is the clear one. Let's start with the guard position. This would probably be one of the more competitive battles throughout training camp. You could probably even say just the offensive line. Graham Glasgow, Christian Mahogany, Tate Ratledge, and Miles Frazier. Miles Frazier, I know I did a separate interview during the draft regarding Frazier just because a lot of people, and not that, I don't want to always go by, hey, what the experts say on a guy, but I think most of us would agree Miles Frazier has got some real ability. Even though he was a 5th-round pick, let's not forget Christian Mahogany was a 6th-round pick. I think this will be one of the deepest positions on the team. And again, this doesn't even include Yodi and some of the other guys on the team currently that were serving backup roles. I won't be surprised if Mahogany's on one side and then Ratledge or Frazier are on the other guard position, and Graham Glasgow's a rotational backup, maybe backup center, backup guard, backup a lot of different things. But I think we all get it. That battle to be the number one guy and 2 of the guard spots is probably up in the air. Wide receiver 3, here's your candidates. Tim Patrick, he's probably right now on the Lions depth chart, the number 1 guy. Hey, he's the vet. He's been there. He's done that. He knows all the ins and outs. Khalif Raymond, while he may not have Patrick's size, he's got wheels. We get it. He is a fan favorite. He is a coaching favorite. He's been a part of the Detroit Lions renaissance here. Let's see what they do. Ronnie Bell, Antoine Green, who's now no longer with the team, Dominic Lovett. All these guys are out there. Could Green come back? Absolutely. At least at this time, he is not going to be back. And then don't forget the rookie, Isaac Tisla. This will be probably one of the deeper Lions wide receiver rooms out there. Because don't forget, I should say, on this list isn't Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams. Those guys are going to start. Unless they're hurt, they're going to be out there starting. But now think about the backup here for number 3, 4, 5 on that list. Who knows who's going to emerge? My opinion right now, and it's just a thought, is that Tim Patrick is going to be the starting number 3 receiver early in the season, but based on different situations, Raymond will probably be out there. Dominic Lovett, I like him. I just don't see him supplanting some of the other guys early. Tisla, though, I know I've mentioned this before. I think you get this cat closer and closer to, say, November, late October. He might start emerging just because if you haven't seen him, go check him out. His run blocking is through the roof. I mean, he's nasty with the run blocking. You watch his separation. You watch his 3-step. You watch a lot of different things about him. I think once he gets acclimated to the NFL level, you're going to see something out there. All right, probably the next biggest battle for the Lions is going to be the defensive end, and opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I think we can all agree Aiden Hutchinson, as long as he's healthy, he's going to start. But here's your clear guys, I'd say, that are in starting potential opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Marcus Davenport, Pierce, I get it. You don't want him starting, but he's at least in the running right now. Josh Pascal, Alaquin Muhammad, and Amin Sain. And I'm still working on the pronunciation then. But anyways, So those are probably your guys there. I do believe that Levi Onwuzurike is going to be in the rotation there too. Whether or not he's going to start as a defensive end, I don't know, but I think he's going to be in the rotation there. Who's the starter out of this group? I think personally it comes down to either Davenport or Muhammad. I just think both those guys really, Davenport, obviously his big thing has got to be availability. He's got to be healthy. But last year, to be fair to him, is trying to be as fair as I can be. When he was healthy, he was pretty dang effective. Alquan Muhammad, when he came in, I thought, man, every week he just looked better and better. Could they have a diamond in the rough there? We'll see. All right, Nickelback, Amik Robertson, Enix Raystraw, Avante Maddox, and Rocky Yassin. Man, I don't know, man. Probably, I would say in an ideal situation, it's Robertson. You watch how he played, especially later in the year. I would think he's going to be the person everybody else is going to be chasing to knock out of that spot. But if Rakestraw's healthy, if you haven't seen him win healthy, he's pretty dang athletic. He gets a lot of things done. He's still catching up and making up probably for some lost time his rookie year. The other guys, we'll see. But what are your thoughts on these position battles? Let me know in the comments section below or to the right, wherever it is on your screen. All right, Lions taking big steps with their quarterback room. The heavy story by Ann Erickson. This will round it out, and then we'll get into the main topic of the day. I think the Lions are going to be much better this year at quarterback, and probably most of you guys would agree with this versus other years. They're just more stability. Yes, Jared Goff. Yes, Hendon Hooker, Adams, whoever else they bring in, they're all going to have to learn the John Morton offense. The nice part with that is that we do have the additional preseason game, the Hall of Fame game this year. I really hope Morton, Dan Campbell, get the starters out there, at least a series or two, just to shake off some rust. I think most Lions fans get it during the Dan Campbell era. They're more or less treating the first 2 or 3 games of the regular season as the starters preseason game, and that's why you see some of the stuff not look so crisp. Remember last year when we lost to Tampa Bay, Jared Goff threw for a gajillion yards. We just couldn't score in the red zone, end zone. I think that's a lack of reps during the preseason. When you look at the quarterback room, and you look at the story here by Ann Erickson that breaks down the developmental process Goff has gone through, where he's at with things, and also the amped up training camp battle for the backup spot between Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker. Be my assumption, but I don't know, that Hendon Hooker is going to win that. But let's also not take anything away from Allen. Hey, he's fighting for his NFL career. He's fighting to stay with the Detroit Lions. He might have an opportunity to supplant Hendon Hooker if he really shows out. Wait and see. But I think anybody watching the show who's ever played sports gets it. If you got competition, like we talked about with some of the other position battles, you've got guys doing their best to try to stay out there, which makes, iron sharpen iron, all that stuff. I think it's going to be, in the end of the day, it's going to be the Lions' best interest to have these guys, maybe a couple other quarterbacks out there trying to win that backup quarterback spot. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. Main topic of the day. There's often things that we don't know as fans that happen behind closed doors in war rooms for the Detroit Lions. Brad Holmes is going to be under the gun a little bit this year. We all get it. He has made a number of trades during his time in Detroit. I get everybody's going to bring up the Broderick Martin debacle, the bottle, whatever you want to say, because he hasn't really produced on the field. Doesn't mean he won't this year, but let's be honest. Lions gave up some draft capital for Broderick Martin. If he doesn't pan out this year, that will cause some problems for Lions fans and say, see, he messed up there. Lions also, as we're finding out, had some opportunities to make some trades during this past draft, and we do have some reports coming out. I'll walk you through it, that one of the Lions picks that they were trying to move up to get, and I know I mocked them to the Detroit Lions, I want to say in the 4th round, if I'm not mistaken, for my last Lions Talk Live mock draft. But this is coming from a report from The Athletic. The Lions were trying to get Ashton Gillette for, I guess, in the middle rounds, somewhere around pick number 70. Now, we all get that pick ultimately went to Isaac Tisla, so it does appear there was some debate in the Lions offices about potentially going for him instead. Didn't happen, didn't shake out. For those who don't know, Gillette had, 26 and a half sacks in 4 years with Louisville, along with 41 tackles for loss, was one of the top edge defenders off the board following the first round. So after the first round, he was considered one of the top options out there. Now, further going into this is going to come from a Jacksonville Jaguars reporter who was in the Jags offices during the draft. Another element leading into the hesitation was that the Jaguars considered not trading the Lions that pick because they were worried that the Lions were going to take their guy. Anyways, going through some of this, General Manager James Gladstone had gone from offering the 70th pick to the Lions, along with a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 26 sixth-round pick in exchange for the Lions' 3 total third-round selections, which we all get that. Now, some things did change. We didn't get the fifth-round pick. Lions kind of balked, agreed to take the sixth-round pick, so they got 2 sixth-round picks, etc. Yes, Detroit was ready to make the deal happen. The suspicions in the Jaguars draft room was the Lions had been targeting Gillette all the time, wrote Michael Silver, who was with the Jaguars war room during that time. Now, he also goes on to talk about the Lions and the Jaguars had a separate conversation earlier in the draft during the first round to try to make a deal happen. Obviously, that didn't go down. We all get it. Jags made a deal with Cleveland, yada, yada, yada. But let that sink in. The Lions had a conversation with the Jacksonville Jaguars about potentially trading way up in the draft. He didn't have details with it, or at least we can say he wasn't allowed to give it out. But he said that the Brad Holmes had several conversations with the Jacksonville Jaguars leading into the start of the first round and then during the first round as the draft got started. There are a couple other reports out there. The Lions tried to make some draft trades in the second round to move on up, try to get a person of interest. We don't know the specifics on that one. At least it hasn't come out yet. Brad Holmes in a radio interview yesterday, and I know I mentioned this earlier, he had one with 97.1 the ticket and mentioned that they try to pull off 30 different trades, roughly. And that's just him kind of paraphrasing and saying, hey, it's roughly 30 different trades. So what we can get is the Lions, Brad Holmes. We talked about this going into the draft, that the Lions probably weren't going to try to keep all 7 of their draft picks. There's just not enough room. We've mentioned during the 5 headlines now, all the different position battles, just how deep this team is. We talked about Green getting cut. It does appear from multiple different reporters in multiple different war rooms, Brad Holmes was being pretty active trying to go get somebody. The question I have for you guys, if this first round trade with the Jags would have went down, who do you think the Lions could have went after in the first round that high? The only buddy I can think of is Mason Graham. And hey, you took a defensive tackle in the 28th pick overall. There were some also reports from a couple different NFL reporters saying the Lions actually wanted Malik Starks, but the Ravens obviously took him right before. So what do you think of Brad Holmes? I know a lot of us are in our feelings about, hey, we didn't get an edge rusher, but then we find out the Lions were apparently trying to trade up to the, whatever it is, a top pick in the NFL draft to get somebody with the Jacksonville Jaguars pick. We obviously understand that there was some debate in the Lions front office, war room, whatever, and with that 70th pick, it does sound like the Jaguars reporter firmly believes that part of the Lions coaching staff, front office staff, what do you want to say, wanted Gillette there. And hey, I get it. If you haven't seen that kid, he's a terror. He's going to probably be a pretty dang good edge rusher in the NFL level. I do wonder how many more Lions fans would overall have been happy if we got Gillette instead of Tisla. I guess, that's up to everybody to debate. The only thing I can say is the guy you got, the wide receiver you got, he puts, bodies through the floor, run blocking. He's a big dude. He gets after it. There's a lot of good upside. My also anticipation is we're going to get more information in the next couple of weeks about other possible trades that went down. I do want you guys, if you can tell me, who do you think the Lions would have taken if they could have pulled off the trade with the Jags in the first round? Obviously, that didn't happen. The Jags made a trade with the Browns. We all get that stuff and went down. But is my guess, at least right now, we would have probably got the Graham for the defensive tackle, and obviously that would have taken Tyleik Williams off the board and probably some other picks for the boards. Either way, I think we can get it, though. While Lions fans are not happy, or at least I shouldn't say Lions fans, some Lions fans were not happy with the draft as a totality. I think now that we have more and more of this information from Brad Holmes himself, Jaguars reporters, some NFL reporters, Lions were pretty dang active, and I don't think anybody's really surprised about that, but are these some signs that the Lions knew that if we can move up to, I don't remember offhand where the Jags originally picked, I want to say number 5 in the NFL draft, if the Brad Holmes pulls off that move, is that the first sign of him pushing all the chips to the table, middle of the table, to go in it and say, skip these picks, we want a home run player out there? And I think most Lions fans would agree Mason Graham's a pretty nice player. Having him next to Hutch would have been awesome, assuming that's who it was. I don't know. There's no firm reports on it. Here's the big debate I think we're going to have to wrestle with. Since it would appear the Lions front office was torn between Ashton Gillette or Isaac Tisla, where would you have rather them gone? Are you okay with where they went, or do you think now we should have went with Ashton? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. So, all right, we got a couple minutes until our special guest of the day gets here. Let me power through a few comments in the section, and we'll go from there. If you have any questions, go ahead, by all means, throw them out there. Let me scroll to the top of the screen. Clark, first question mark. That never happens. Laughing out loud. Hey, Coach and Duke Crew, I heard we nearly took Starks in the first round. Is that true? It does appear so. But again, I think probably everybody watching the draft could say that's a Baltimore Ravens type player. Let that also sink in, though. I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the show. The Lions now have a clear identity with other NFL offices and some of the scouts. Hey, what's a Baltimore Ravens player? What's a Green Bay Packer? Most teams, some teams in the NFL do have clear visions for the type of people they want. And it does sound like the Ravens and the Lions players are pretty dang similar, so you can see him going either way. All right, Steve, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. No surprise, Brad is always looking for ways to improve the roster. He's the man. Exclamation point. Can we get a woo for the crew? You know what? Just because I did not put the Sheila in the new intro, and I got to make a couple other intros, let's give you guys the Sheila. And will you go? Shamir, Grand Rising, Duke Crew, back at you. Morning, Coach, and thank you for that. Hopefully you're having a great morning. Big Eddie, greetings and salutations all. The farther we get from the draft, I am sure info will get out about things that nearly went down the draft. USA Today said the Lions tried to trade up in the first, and we tried to move back. Yeah, it sounds like both things were on the table. When I did my final mock draft based on the value charts and stuff like that, I thought we would trade back twice before we made the selection. Sounds like it nearly happened, but, again, the couple of people we were going to potentially trade back with just leapfrogged us, and I want to say got to the Rams and somebody else. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Almost by an inch is as good as a mile. Yeah, 100% there. They're all, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Maybe, but the effort counts. Yes. Woo! And I'm down with that. Hookadoo. Rise and shine, sleepyheads. It's time for Lions Talk Live. Oh, yeah. And good morning. Moonscar Blade, good morning. Duke Crew starting lineup. Back at you, Moonscar. Hopefully you're having a good one. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. I can't imagine what it's like being a team's GM. Everyone trying to tell you how your job should be done. Yeah, I mean, man, ain't that every job, though? Let's be fair. Trey, what's up, Moon? Question mark. Good morning. Bo, how much different would some people feel if Brad managed to jump the Mangos? That's a good question. A very good question. Level 100, what do you got? It's Brad's job to make calls. I am sure they wanted too much. If they can stay healthy and develop a rotational opposite Hutch, the pass rush and defense will be fine. Yeah, one thing, I could almost do a separate video on it. I was thinking about it yesterday driving around, and I really do think a lot of different situations next year. It's my anticipation you're going to see Derek Barnes play that edge rusher, part-time edge rusher out there in certain situations. Remember, before he got injured, he was doing that a lot last year and having some success. Let's see, Jess, greetings, salutations, Duker. Coach, quick question. How much time a day do you spend on the show? Question mark. Seems like you're always on the news. Part of it is it's just, I can listen to the news while I'm doing my other jobs in real estate or trading, etc. So when something hits, I'm already on the computer, so it doesn't take a big leap. Let's see, Silver Surfer, good morning, Coach, anyone? Same to you. Robert, greetings, salutations. The Lions are built to fight. Yes, they are, and they're in it to win it. Hookadoo, there has been a reason Z. Smith hasn't signed with another team, and my gut feeling is he already has a deal with Detroit? Question mark. It could be, man. It could be. I think the pass rush situation, we all wanted to get, bigger, faster, stronger, younger there. Just didn't happen. It does sound like more and more Brian Holmes was trying to make it happen. End of the day, I just think the cost might have been too much. Who knows? We'll find out more in time, I'm sure. Drake, I still can't believe we didn't add to the pass rush earlier in the draft. Everyone can see we couldn't get to the quarterback after Hutch went down. How is this not a issue to Holmes? It may have been an issue, Drake. I think, I don't know, man. I'm just offering my thoughts. It just sounds like he tried to make some deals happen. Didn't work out. I'm guessing the cost just ended up being too high. The only thing I could say with the Jags in the first round is they probably just wanted a certain player. Maybe if the Lions would have made them an offer they can't refuse, then they wouldn't have made the deal with the Browns. All right, Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. dropping the kids off at school and listening in. Everyone have a great day! Exclamation point. I believe in Brad. Hey, we believe in you, and thanks for all you do to help protect people. All right, guys, it's about that time. Let's go on over and bring on our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him. He's one of the most analytical guys on YouTube. It is Avery from Spirit of Detroit Podcast. Avery, do you got your morning Mountain Dew going?
You know what? I got a Pepsi. Right here.
All right, man. All right, fair enough.
I'm on brand.
Good point, man. So you are one of the guys on YouTube that probably studies things more than 99% of the people out there. So you do have an eye for things going on there. You look at the Lions draft now that it's several days removed. What are your initial thoughts of this draft class?
Okay. First round and second round, you got higher tier players. Even though one is literally a carbon copy of a player you already had. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear you?
Yeah, one is a carbon copy of a player you already have. His injury might be significantly worse. You don't know. So at least you don't lose nothing there. And then if he is back by like week 6, week 7, whatever it is, even if he is back, guess what? You got a rotation now, so you don't have to force him back. So that benefits you. Plus, you have him for the long haul. So Reader, bye-bye Reader after this year. If Reader wants to retire or he wants to come back on a more expensive contract. The players that you did get, the 2 guards, I really like. I think they're higher tier players. Frazier can move to tackle. He can play tackle as well, but I love him inside as a guard. He's 6'6". He's really big. Rutledge is nice. Rutledge is a nice acquisition. Now he needs to get better in the pass game and pass protection, but his run blocking is sincerely better. And I think we have the coach to do that. Tesla is a great player. I believe he charted like top 100 out of Woolworth Sports reported this. He charted top 100 RAS-wise in the history of the NFL, which is good. I did have a chance to watch his tape. I really think he's a mix between a fast JMO and a big-bodied like receiving threat like Laporta. He works the middle very well. I like that. I mean, the draft gave me a sour taste in my mouth. I mean, they got good players. Imagine this. This is how weird the Lions are. They got good players, just not at the position we wanted. They got good players. I can't look at this draft and say you got bad players. I can't do that because I know the prospects, but still, like 2 guards, you just couldn't settle for one. But that would be picking a horse or whatever the slogan is, nitpicking. It's a good draft. It's just not the draft we foreseen.
Right. So there was some news that came out yesterday. Brad Holmes went on the radio, talked about, he tried to make, basically, he said 30 different trades, just didn't all go down. A Jaguars war room reporter, who's allowed to be in there, said the Lions had some repeated conversations with the Jags before the start of the draft and then early in the draft. Apparently, the Lions and Jags talked about swapping picks, Lions moving all the way up to, I think the Jags picked at number 5 originally before they made the trade with the Browns. If that goes down, who do you think the Lions are trying to take at that spot?
I mean, I'm with you. I heard you earlier in the show, Mason Graham. If they wanted Mason Graham, that's cool. But if they also like Tyreek, I don't know. Like, honestly, at 5 at that time, I mean, I forget who was on the board, but I think Shadur was available. What's that? What? I said I think Shadur was available. You could have got a pass rusher or something. You know what? I know these reporters are saying stuff and they're coming out with all this, stuff now. I'm just happy with the players that we got. I just can't even focus on fantasy land because, in the Matrix, I can't focus on what's in the Matrix. I got to focus on what's now, what's here and now. And
right.
It would kill me to dream about the players we could have got. I forgot all those prospects' names, man. I got 4 good receivers now. So I got to focus on that.
Right. All right, so now that we break down the lines, we're gonna have to start breaking down positional battles because I've gone on record. I know you've talked about it a lot in different shows and podcasts, etc. It does appear like the Lions have a ton of talent that is going to go into that 53-man roster. As we get into this thing, we start looking at potential for the team when the season starts. Who do you think are going to have the biggest position battles to maintain their spots on the 53-man roster?
Well, yeah, I think guard, defensive end. I would also say third cornerback. Third cornerback's interesting as well. The Lions gave up almost 30 explosive plays from the slot position last year. And they gave up 60 total on defense. I don't know. An edge rusher might help you there. I don't know. But I think that yeah, that slot cornerback spot is interesting because Maddox and Amit could battle. Obviously, we paid a guy, so we know for a fact he's going to be the cover corner. He's going to be the guy. But that defensive end, that guard spot. I love Graham Glasgow. I love him. I don't know what the issue is there. But the right guard spot with Owasaka, with Rutledge, with all these different guys, it's gonna be really interesting. You can even throw Manu in there. We heard that at the owners meeting from Dan Campbell. So, I think those are the key position battles. Who's the second tight end? I mean, who's the third? Because I think you got 4 on the roster now. You brought in some guys. Who's the third tight end? If that matters. But yeah.
What do you think of? I mean, I get his video went viral, but Ahmed Hassanin, what do you think of this kid?
It's funny. I just did a film study on him. We just finished it. Put it up last night. Put it up. Just an hour ago. Worked on it all night. So if I'm slap happy, you know why. I don't think this is I don't want to I know every Lions fan is very happy for him to be there, and to me, Lions fans are approaching it like, oh, that's a cute story and all this other stuff. This guy can play. There's skill there. Okay. If there wasn't skill, he wouldn't have gotten drafted. Now, I did the film study, and the sacks obviously are tremendous for the Mountain West Division that he got at Boise State. I think that there's something to be said about his production and where he fell in the draft. But you have a raw individual who wants to get better. He knows he needs to get better, and he can get better. He has everything in him. I love the intangibles that he has. I'm not really high on character players like Brad Holmes is, but he's a great player. And watching the film made me put it in perspective. So when I did the film study, I did it with high hopes. I just want people to, don't look at him like the Chihuahua that, is going to fight the pit bull. He can come out here. He's not a DEI. He's not none of that. He can come out here. He can do his job, and he could be better than what you've been given at the right edge position. And he can go. He can even go inside.
Okay. I know a lot of people are a little surprised the Lions didn't address the edge spot more. I get that. Nothing we can do about it. We are where we are. What do you think there is any chance Brad Holmes either brings Zadarius Smith back or another player of interest prior to the start of the season?
They've told me I'm a Brad Holmes hater. Okay, Dan. They told me I was a Brad Holmes hater. I don't hate nobody. Okay, my wife even got wind of it, and she was watching one of my videos. She was like, "You hate Brad Holmes so much. I think I think you wake up and you hate the cereal. You hate him so much." And I'm like, I don't hate him. I just want the edge rusher.
Right.
I will say Zadarius has a spot on this team for sure. I mean, Marcus Davenport is a spot waiting to open up. The money we paid him, the lack of guaranteed money there, the lack of upper echelon money there.
Right.
If Zadarius can find it within his heart to come back to Detroit on a $2 million deal, $6 million, I don't know. He might have to get some wooden nickels from Brad Holmes. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, if he can come back, I'm hoping, and I think it can happen. I really do. If both sides just say, "Look, we're trying to get to a certain place that we've never been. He's never been. I've never been. Brad's never been." Well, I can't say that, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying.
Exactly. So that's what I think.
You look at the Lions' incoming rookie class. Do you think any of them have the potential to start?
Oh, Philadelphia. They talk about Philadelphia. What'd you say? What'd you say? I'm sorry. I was
It
reading that.
happens, man. You look at the Lions' rookie class. Do you think any of them have a potential to start this year, the rookie year?
Man, that's a good question, man. It's going to be Rutledge or Frazier for sure with the highest upside because Zeitler departure, it opens it up. You could say Awasika's there, and you can say Sorsdal could play guard a little bit, but I would say my bet's on Rutledge. My bet is on Rutledge. I'm not a betting man either. I'm not. Yeah, I'm a guy who like says, man, I would have bet if I knew the future. I would have bet.
Right. I'm just because I get you've looked at a lot of these different guys, you've analyzed them, especially now that you've had some time. Who do you think, if you had to guess right now, which Lions rookie has the most upside potential? Say by year 2, 3, 4, or whatever, going down the road.
Tesla. I think I have my allergies going.
It happens, man.
Yeah. It's just, oh boy. It's just,
you know what I
forgot
to do before asking you all these questions?
Yeah. Send them.
Let you know that you're on the hot seat for the game show.
Okay. This is awesome. Awesome.
Sorry, man. Just trying to have a little fun there.
Oh, no. You awesome, bro. Bro, you are the best. You are the best.
Here we go.
I'm just saying. I say what I feel. Okay. You the best, man.
So you said Tesla. So what is it about him that draws your eyes to him? You think, man, this kid could be something.
Well, one thing I'm gonna just tell you, the environment that Tesla's going into is an environment where people know how to work. You got people like Laporta, you got people like Amon Ra, you got people like Khalif Raymond, who gets a lot of respect in that locker room. Those guys know how to work and they know how to come to work. So one thing's for sure, he's going to be prepared. I mean, he's already short-handed, and we already see the RAS scores and the athleticism.
Right.
But you got guys that are coming to work. And I'm going to say Tim Patrick as well. Tim Patrick, he had a couple years where he was elite receiver. So we got a volley of veteran guys he can learn from. And what better crew to learn from than that crew? Another thing that he has is just like when he was at Arkansas, I know people talk about his production, but most of us are Michigan or Michigan State fans. We don't really watch Arkansas football. I didn't even know Arkansas football existed. Okay. Under the Joe Paterno offense, they were run and shoot offense, really lightning fast. And they had the second best receiver in the SEC. That guy went undrafted. They had, a tight end who was like a quasi running back slot receiver. They had a lot of guys to throw to, but also they didn't have a lot of production from their linemen. Quarterbacks were getting sacked. He would be wide open. I'm talking about Tesla's wide open deep down the field. And either the quarterback Talon Smith, who I think is a good quarterback, either he couldn't find him because he was under pressure or he had to take off and run. Right. So you can't hold this guy's production to the level of, just empirical data. You have to actually watch the tape and watch the film and just see like, wow, this run and shoot offense that went 6-6 and won the Liberty Bowl, they got some key flaws, but this guy right here on film, he's really amazing. And that's what we seen on film the other day when I uploaded the video. Shameless plug.
Nothing wrong with that. So speaking of shameless plugs, why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out, tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, your great content, and help support you in the channel.
Yeah, I'm Spirit of Detroit podcast. I'm one of Dan's biggest fans. This guy, he brings the news. He does everything in his power to be organized, thought-provoking, and just understanding. He's understanding of people's schedules. He's, a consummate professional in YouTube. Dan, you're professional in business, and I just appreciate that. So I appreciate being one of your biggest fans, and you inspire me to do this the right way. So on my YouTube channel, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, we go about film the right way. We don't just disrespect guys too much. I would say I don't know why I'm saying we. It's just myself. Anyway, it's
the community with you.
Yeah, it's the community with it. We say what Detroit Lions football looks like and what it doesn't look like, and we clean it up and we move on and we move forward. And there's no Brad Holmes hate on the channel. I have retired my Brad Holmes hat. There is none of that. There is no hate. You know, when my wife told me just the other day after the draft on Monday, she said, "You wake up angry. Think about this team." She was like, you look like you mad at the cereal. I was mad at the cereal I was eating. But I was like, a wide receiver in the third round. But guess what? I had to understand Brad. And the only reason we get mad at Brad is because we don't understand. But once we watch the tape and once we click it on, we understand, you know?
I think a lot of it is too, Avery, man. We watch so many months worth of, mock draft this, that this guy is, how could you pass on this dude? How could you not know that dude? Part of it is too, I'm going to guess 99% of Lions fans, and maybe I'm wrong, don't even know who Tesla was before he got drafted to Detroit. I knew about him just because of his high school playing career. Plus, he played at Hillsdale, so I got to watch him a little bit here and there. And leading into the draft, paying attention to the Lions visits and all that stuff, I try to break down some stuff on each of the guys. You can see his athleticism. It doesn't take much. Now, when you watch his run blocking, it sounds like that's what first really grabbed Holmes' attention when he saw him live and then went back and watched tape. So, anyways, you do a great job with everything you put out there, man. You put in a ton of work on this stuff. So, Duke Crew, if you get an opportunity, go check them out, go support them, give them a thumbs up, give them a subscribe, all that kind of jazz. So, Avery, thanks for coming on the show, man. We'll have to get you scheduled to come back on another time.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do any time, man, between Monday and Wednesday. And I will say, man, being on your show is a joy. It's almost free publicity because guess what? I just dropped the what's that called? A tape don't lie. Jesus Christ, I can't even. I've been up all night. I just dropped the tape don't lie. Yeah, I got to get rid of the Pepsi, son. I just dropped the tape don't lie, and it's free publicity, man. I'm telling you. Hey, look, it's so great. So watch that Adam Beydoun? No, watch that Ahmad Hassanin video, please.
Hassanin. Yeah, I gotta learn to say his name correctly. Hassanin.
Hey, look, all right. God bless y'all.
All right, man. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See you, Avery. All right, let's get back over to the Duke Crew. Dr. Troy, that was great discovery. It says Brad hears us without saying he hears us. Yeah, 100%. He more or less addressed the fans, said, hey, I get their thoughts. I get, I get everybody wants us to do this, that, and the other thing. It also has become clear, at least in the last, say 12 hours or so, the Lions did try to move up. They tried to move back. They tried to make some moves to acquire some edges. We may never know exactly who the edges were, although according to the Jags War Room Insider, it does seem clear the Jags, with the 70th pick when they traded it, did feel fairly convinced the Lions War Room was trying, or at least a portion of the Lions War Room was trying to go after Gillette. So we get that. And he's probably going to have a promising NFL career. All right, Brian, I like the guys we got. They seem like Detroit Lions. I would agree with that. Brad was definitely trying hard to get some trades done. Super Bowl bound. Woo! I like the way you're thinking. Ezra, great. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Think they wanted to get Mason, Graham, and Grant. Yeah, and it's just my opinion. Sounds like it's yours too, Graham. If the Lions do make that trade with the Jags up to, I think it's the number 5 pick, then yeah, Graham would have probably been the selection there. Dr. Detroit, Brad also wanted to get doesn't want to get fleeced for our number 1 possible need. Yeah, there you go. Let's see, the Central Scrutinizer. Fans being offended by Brad's rhetoric. I'd probably be a little short too after 3 days leading the War Room. I trust Brad. Proofs in the pudding. Diesel is a promising pick. Gritty. I agree with that. I think all the guys fit a certain mantra. They're going to come after you. They're going to hit you hard. Frank, think it was not an edge rusher, laughing out loud. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Again, I don't know what it was. Robert, I'm sitting down and happily eating what Brad Holmes is cooking. I like the way you're thinking. Bus driver Brad, hey, good to see you, man. It's been a hot second. I don't think Brad cares about anybody outside their room. He will pick the best fit, not the best available or need. Yes, he is going to go with whoever he thinks is the best player on that draft board. David, I think Holmes is mostly talking about the media, and I do think he would do better to not get defensive. There will always be haters, plus expectations will change the longer we are on a top team. Agreed with that, and he's done a great job turning the Lions into one of the NFL's best. Don, I wouldn't doubt a trade being in the mix. I'm gonna kill that name. Pierce, laughing out loud. Pierce or Don Burr again would love that. Dr. Troy, it has to be right all the way around to keep what we have to. Yes, 100% with that. DM5 TV, what's taking so long to resign Za'Darius? Question mark. Guy had 4 or 5 sacks in Cleveland and 3 with us. Maybe it's just Za'Darius wants some time off. I mean, he is getting up there in age a little bit. Maybe he just wants the summer to do whatever, not have to go to the OTAs and all that kind of stuff. Server, Frank the Tank Man, don't even mention the timeline before Sheila, Brad, and Dan. We missed the unmiserable and more. Wasn't Charles Rogers, God rest him, picked before Andre Johnson, Hall of Famer? He was, and hey, to be fair, a lot of people thought Charles Rogers was going to be the man. Unfortunately, just couldn't stay healthy. Orlando Daz, what do you got? Good morning, all. Can I get a Sheila? Woo! For my 55th. Hey, it's your birthday. Let's give you a Sheila. How about a 1, 2, and I got to scroll up on the screen for a 3. Happy birthday, my friend. Robert, Lions got grittier in this draft. Yes, they did. Bus driver around. Also, throw out people's players' rankings. They're all junk and mean nothing. Players that were ranked in the late 300s got drafted. My niece classmate got drafted by Baltimore. He was ranked 388th. Yeah, and I think you're spot on with that, Brent. Rankings from the national media, etc. It's not that they don't do their homework, but they're not NFL scouts. They're not NFL, for the most part, they're not NFL front offices. And it's going to change from team to team. There will be some teams that give somebody a high grade, some that give them a low grade. It only matters what that particular team and front office coaching staff thinks about the player. Frank the Tank, yeah, I have a problem with the haters, bro. I've been hearing this stuff for 4 years now. Team was 3-14 to 14-3. Laughing out loud, go Lions. Spot on with that. My bad, 15-2. I know where you're going with that. Don, just like people mad over the 2/3 next year. I think about it. Brad might be saying I have more paydays coming and less picks means cash saved. Just a thought. Yeah, he's probably got some sort of mad scientist wisdom that's going on with that. Harrisville, if Hutch goes down, the pass rush, rubbish going to suffer. Nothing you can do about it. The top 3 edges don't grow on trees. No, you're not wrong with that, man. And I think that's kind of what Holmes was alluding to. Number after that, Tisla and Ahmed breakdown, nice. Yes, I'll go with that. Yeah, he does a good job with that stuff. Let's see, Dr. Troy, also think that what this organization doesn't understand is, they've heard this stuff, kind of stuff from GMs before, and even though Brad is the best we've seen, we've heard all this. Yes, I'll go with that. Frank, I told you all, not all on a lot of podcasts, Detroit Lions will not be taking an edge rusher, but who am I? Yeah, you were spot on, man, 100%. Dr. Detroit, excuses in our past are they trigger people. Yes, they do trigger people. The past is prelude to our future with a lot of Lions fans. See, Silver Server, and I am the very same reason we opened up at home with the Rodgers, quote, the star, and the visiting team. The Cards displayed their rookie receiver, 3rd round, Aquan Bolden, who ripped Detroit for 200 yards. Yeah, hey, Bolden back in the day, man, he was a monster. See, Robert, rip all those souls. There you go. Same old Lions. There you go. Frank the Tank, you can go ahead and get over for 200 yards, but they will still lose. They're probably true. Dr. Troy, Avery knows his stuff. Yes, he does. Pierce, Avery, preach on. He's preaching or preached, whatever you want to say. Scott, I wonder how hard did Brad try to acquire a defensive end earlier? There was the defensive end from Boston College with 16 sacks and 24, and Mike Green, both available in the 2nd round. We could have moved up to get. The only thing I'd say, Scott, at least with Mike Green, is he's more of a 3-4 edge rusher or linebacker, standing linebacker, getting after the quarterback, where that doesn't appear to be the system the Lions are going to run. So just food for thought, man. I love the Hun. If the Lions were targeting Ashton Gillette, it makes more sense that they selected Ahmad Assane. I've got to work on that, man. Similar size and production. Ahmed has longer arms and bigger hands. There you go. Don, 30 trade attempts, people missing that point. Yes, he did try. Robert, no doubt, exclamation point. The O-line got better, way deeper. Frank, listen, people, Detroit Lions are having problems with pass rushers going into week 6. Don't worry, Myles Garrett will be on the straight talk. It happened in Crosby. They can't complain about that. Hey, we'll always find something to chat about, won't we? Leonard Hunt, Scott, both of those edge rushers were lightweights for the Lions' defensive system and scheme. There are more linebackers who play edge. Correct with that. I would agree with that, Hun. Dr. Detroit, Avery summed it up perfectly just now, but hey, man, that defensive edge just wasn't there for us this year. We're going to have to get over it. Yeah, agreed. At this point, what can you do? Pierce, Dr. Detroit, exactly. Robert, point being, Brad didn't have the ammo to move up to pick 5. It sounds like he tried. I just wonder what we would have offered to achieve it. All right, Kurt Steele, AG, what up, doing, my dude? There you go, exclamation point. Pierce, Don Burr, that was what I wanted to hear from Brad. Appreciate the effort, worked in it out. Now I have to go on to plan C. Yes, David, I don't think the Lions value small edges the way fans do. We want 260-plus pound guys who can rush, but also stop the run. Agreed with that, 100%, David. Frank, think the guy golf haters? All right. Kerry, can't wait to see what free agents they pick up. Yeah, we'll see. Especially when it's 53-man cut down day. There'll be some players maybe the Lions look at. Frank, we can't hear you. All right. Hopefully, the Trim Reaper Man of Steel is in the house. Don, David, J-Mo, Lion King, Maddox can also play a little safety. Correct with that. Frank, great first half hour of the show, Dan. Keep up the great work. Hey, I'm doing what I can here for you. Pierce, Don Burr, Shamar the roster would have been nasty. Would have been. Dr. Detroit, boss in the house. Kerry, hey, Kurt, what up? Don, Pierce, definitely big body. Pierce, Don Burr, also a great motor on Stewart. Correct with that. Old school brawler. It's Ratledge, not Rutledge. There you go. Robert, right, I have the football players all over this team now. David, if you were around during the Bobby Ross and Millen days, you have a whole drafts that were pretty much missed. Yes, misses. Corrected with that. Phil, good morning. Back at you. Pierce, preach, Avery, preach. Trim Reaper, Avery. Chuck E. Cheese, morning coach, still here. Hey, welcome on back. Hey, it's good to see you, man. It's been a hot second. Brett, yeah, AG, Bo, Avery has that alligator. Yes, he does. Dr. Detroit, he's like the Malcolm Rodriguez to me. There you go. Rat Will, says J-Mo. Don Burr, shout out to the Detroit Pistons. Great win. LCA Thursday will be rocking. Yes, they will. Little Caesars Arena will be rocking. Kate ain't pressed. There you go. I think everybody expected too much out of Brad Holmes. People won't let him do his job. Hey, that might be a lot of truth there. All right, guys, we only got a couple minutes left. Let me kind of filter through here, get people who haven't been on as much. Pierce, Avery is spot on about Davenport. Mary, good morning. Back at you. Rat and Miles Frazier. There you go. J-Mo, Kerry, Avery. How could Jared Ivey fall off the board? That's a good question. Good question. Kurt Steele, need to get AG on the Boss Up Ball podcast. Reach on out to him. Detroit, AG knows his stuff. Yes, he does. Kate ain't Skip Aaron Glenn, bald-headed butt. There you go. Trim Reaper, Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan to the best. Hey, thank you for that. You guys make it the best. Woo! Brett, Kurt Steele, yeah, good idea, sir. Salute. There you go. Dr. Detroit, I like that he thinks about questions, not just fires back with random things off the top of his head. Yes, he takes time to process and consider things. Nick, I know Brad and Dan, what they are doing, exclamation point. Critical fans giving Brad a break, exclamation point. No wonder he got called Snippy. He's entitled. Yeah, and maybe a lot of truth to all things. Nate V, come in a little late this morning. Greetings, salutations, Coach and Duke crew, digging into tape on Ahmed Hassan. And I am completely bought into his kid. High motor and very coachable with high energy. Yeah, I like everything I've seen about him so far. Good Steel, Brenda Wett, salute my guy. Silver Server. Haven't even seen Tug Broski was here. Man, what are you? But mostly support your team. And if you are here, say something good things. Who wants to hear all that junk telling Detroit is bad? Yeah, I'll go with that. DM5TV, Tim Patrick is going to be better too. Don't forget he was coming off injury last year. Correct. He's got another year to strengthen that knee, get better, etc. Keith, good morning and great salutations, Dan and the Duke crew. Exclamation point. Go Lions. We are Super Bowl bound. Woo! Back at you. Hopefully have a great morning. K, the Lions have the best put together roster in the NFC North. I think, man, finding a better team overall in the NFC, it's going to be a challenge, man. It doesn't mean there aren't some other good teams. Lions going to be one of the deepest ones. David, Ivy has a 2 RAS score. Might be true. Nick, some Lions fans won't be happy no matter what. Exclamation point. And Brad and his judgment, period. Correct with that. Trim Reaper, Avery, you rock, man. Robert, Detroit has a top 10 team in the NFL. We just have to get used to the new norm. That might be an accurate statement. Kate ain't pressed. Lions fans are going to run Brad Holmes out of here, and then he's going to do even better with another team. Let's hope not, man. Let's hope not. Dr. Troy, what's weird to me is that Tesla was one of the only wide receivers I thought we would actually get before the draft. I don't think we could trade at all for him, but we did. We did. It does sound like talking, listening to a lot of different sources. Lions had the opinion that somebody was about ready to leap up and go get him, so they wanted to beat him to the punch. Can't impressed. I'm not paying attention to no negative haters and Lions fans either. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. I get some people aren't happy, but you know what? I think, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say the coaching staff, the front office, the scouts know more than probably most of us. So if they think they're right at this point, I'm going to roll with it. Bo, undisclosed Avery, thanks. There you go. Dr. Trey, Brad's usually pretty good about wide receivers. He's been 100% on those almost other than Green. Correct with that. And it does sound like Green was mostly injury related. William, trust in Brad. He's a great drafter. Yes, especially at wide receiver with the Rams or here. He's done a great job. Lisa Thornton, Denver led the league with 63 sacks last year. The Eagles had 41. The Lions had 37. With Hutchinson missing 12 games, our pass rush will be fine as long as injuries don't kill us. Well, thank you to one of my many sisters, Lisa. Thank you for that. Robert, you have to admit Lions fans are used to hating the Lions GM new times. Well, that might be true. Might be true. The program 11, you have fans and fanatics. Go Lions. Very good point. Very good point. Dr. Detroit, Lisa, stats like how many sacks we got don't tell us the whole story. I appreciate what you're saying, but it's a third of the story. Might be true. Silent service, Lions actually a whole dedicated staff that actually watch college athletes. All right, that is correct. Mary in High Avery, Spirit of Detroit, go. Lions for life. Looking forward to the July game. Me too, man. Me too. The program A+ draft. Henry, Robert Stevenson, any relation to Bob Stevenson? I served with in the 791st Trans Battalion in Grand Rapids. We'll find out. Silent service fans watch people like Peter Schrager and Mel Kiper and mock drafts online hosts and think that they know better than the NFL scouting departments. That is a very, very accurate statement. Thomas Tesla is going to make the team. I think so. Right now, he's better than Tim Patrick. He is a cross between St. Brown and Cooper Kupp. That's a good cross. Isaac Tesla equals Puka Nacua? Maybe. The K ain't pressed. Lions have too many general managers. Always, man. We just signed Zadarius Smith's nephew. Yes, we did. Thomas, fans on Brad and Dan beyond foolish. It would just be like these foolish fans to push them both out. Let's hope they don't. Mary, Spirit of Detroit, shout out to you. Really good. Does a good job on his podcast with the tape. Don't lie. Thank you for having him on your podcast. No, he's a great dude. I don't mind having anybody on the show, especially, if they're real good, Lions supporter, fan of everything. Avery does a good job. Kurt Steele does a good job. Mike, you guys get it, man. There's tons of people out there working to try to provide content for us as a fan base. There's a ton of them. I try to get them all on. I try to mention them all too when possible. And I'm probably always going to forget people too. So it happens, man. It happens. Robert, no prayers. All right. Keith, who was this guest this morning? He was high. I think he works third shift, Keith. So I think he's probably just really tired, given that it's, 8 a.m. Henry, thanks, man. There you go. Robert, am I from Grand Rapids? But I am from Grand Rapids, says Robert. Bo, Keith, he said he was operating on 2 hours sleep. Yeah. Didn't get a lot of sleep and, coming off work. Yeah. He's probably struggling to stay awake, and which is why I'm thankful he came on. So anyways, Henry, wow. So was I when I moved down to Lansing. Tim Thornton, good morning, all! Exclamation point. I'm more than happy with the draft class. Keep building through the trenches. That's what I'm saying, my brother Tim. I'm going to say Robert, trade in the second round. One guy was left in that tier of players for Detroit, so Brad went and got him. Correct with that. He saw somebody he wanted, went and got it. Grew up in Lansing, says Robert. French and Everett. There you go. Henry, I grew up in Palmer, Monroe. Joined the service, came back over here, Sweet Street, Northeast. All right. Surfer, right, Tim, Robert, prayers, love. Henry Moore, and to you, my friend. Bo, happy trails, do crew. All done and dusted. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. DM5 TV, only 130 days until week 1 kickoff. Go Lions. Can I get a Sheila? Woo! Man, everybody's wanting some Sheilas today. 1, 2, and man, I got to scroll on the screen. There you go. Paul, morning, Coach Dan and the Duku. Let's talk Pistons. Hey, they're about to force a Game 7 back in the garbage garden in New York. I really hope so, man. I hope the Pistons get some home cooking, some maybe calls after the missed call we all know about in Game 4 or whatever. So hopefully they can force a Game 7. It's going to be fun to watch. Static Dean, I predict Aleem loses more body fat and becomes our new edge rusher to alternate between Smith when he resigns. There you go. We're going to do a happy trails, Duke crew. See you then. Trim Reaper, smash that like button. Smash all the buttons if you would. David, have a good one, everyone. Brett, happy trails. One pride. Trim Reaper, have a great day, coaching crew. Same to you, William. Remember how mad people were when we took Sewell? Dude's got to be putting on a gold jacket one day. Yeah, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Brett, let's see, Robert, excuse me, thumbs up. Keith, sorry, I didn't realize. It happens, man. It happens. I work midnights at times. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it is. All right, guys, if there's breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before checking on out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit all the buttons. Have a great day. Do something kind for someone you don't know, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.